Good morning, everyone, to this meeting of League City Toastmasters. I'm glad that each of you are here today. My goal is to have very brief introductions of 15 seconds or less. My name is Scott Livingston. I'm the president of League City Toastmasters. And let's go to our VPE, Alicia. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am Alicia Lamborghini West. I am the Vice President of Education in this club.
Thank you, Alicia. Glad you're here. Megan, please introduce yourself.
I'm Megan Lemaster, and I am the Vice President of Membership for the League City Toastmasters.
Glad you're here. I see Kelly King. Kelly, are you prepared to introduce yourself? Just name and title.
Hi, I'm Kelly King, VPPR for the League City Toastmasters Club.
Thank you, Kelly. Glad you're here. Let's go to our secretary, Renee Griffin. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning. I'm Renee Griffin. I'm the secretary, League City Toastmasters. I've been a member for approximately 5 months.
Thank you, Renee. Welcome. And our treasurer, Aaron, please introduce yourself.
Hi there, I'm Aaron Heshik. I'm the treasurer for League City Toastmasters.
Great. And I'm sorry, did I already give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, Megan? Okay, sorry guys, I'm looking at the screen. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone. Okay, Elizabeth, please.
Hi, I'm Sergeant at Arms and coach of this club. Welcome.
Okay, and then after that, Spencer, welcome.
Hey everyone, I'm Spencer Hiley.
Glad you're here, Spencer, one of our newer members. And then Alex, welcome. You want to introduce yourself, Alex? Just name and how long you've been in Toastmasters. Oh wait, you're on mute.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Great. My name is Alex Noel. I've been in Toastmasters about a month now.
Welcome, Alex. We're glad you're here. And then let's go to Mitchell. Mitchell, welcome to Toastmasters this morning. We'd like to give us your name and what interested you in joining us this morning.
Hello, my name is Mitchell Shapansky, and just looking to get better at public speaking for my company.
Thank you, Mitchell. Welcome. And pronounce your last name for us again one more time, please.
Shapansky.
Got it, Shapansky. Great. Did I miss anyone? If I didn't call your name, please raise your hand. I think I got everybody. Okay. With that, I'm glad each of you are here. We're going to have a great meeting today. Thank you to Elizabeth for kicking us off and helping us with roles. And with that, I'd like to introduce our Toastmaster of the day, Megan Lemaster. Welcome, Megan.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It's my privilege and pleasure to welcome you to the League City Toastmasters Club. For the benefit of the guests, I would like to explain the structure of the meeting. We have it divided into 3 rounds. The first is the prepared speech round, where members will be delivering speeches based on the projects and pathways they've chosen. The second is table topics round, where members can practice thinking and speaking on their speech. This is also the impromptu speaking round. Guests are welcome to participate in the impromptu speaking. The third and final part is the evaluation, where all the prepared speeches, as well as other aspects of the session, will be evaluated by the general evaluator. So at this time, I would like to introduce the role bearers who will be helping me in running today's session. To keep track of the time spent by each speaker, please help me welcome the timer, which I think is Toastmaster. Okay, yes, Ruiz, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Please explain your role.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. My role as timer is to track the time for each segment and participant in the meeting. A green card will be signaled when the qualifying time has been reached at midpoint, and a yellow, then a red with 30 seconds remaining. After 30 seconds, the participant is disqualified. I will give a timer's report after each meeting segment. Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, to keep track of the good and not so good use of grammar, we have a grammarian of the day. Do we have a grammarian of the day? I'm not seeing it on
me.
the. Okay, please explain your role, Toastmaster.
All right. It is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage, and I'll be taking note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, quotes, saying, or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. And the word of today, the day for today, will be amok, A-M-O-K, like to run amok. The definition is in a violently raging, wild, or uncontrolled manner. And to use it in a sentence, we have legitimate software can also run amok if it's not coded to play nicely with others. So each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day or incorporate it into their speech. And I will give the grammarian reports when called upon during the meeting and also report on the usage of the word of the day. All right, thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Heilig. Now it is time for our counter to explain her role, which again, I will pass it back to Elizabeth.
My role as counter is to note words and sounds used as a crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks during the meeting. The use of interjections such as and, well, but, so, like, you know, as well as sounds like and, or tongue clicks will be tallied. I will also note double clutches, which are words or phrases that are repeated. For example, I, or this means, this means. These interjections generally disrupt the flow of speech and make the speech less interesting. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of the times that each speaker used these expressions. And I would like to note that this club has chosen to cap it at 5. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Riz. And also you are serving as our ballot counter, so please explain your role.
Yes, we do not have a poll feature yet. Therefore, we'll do it the old-fashioned way, and you can send me a private chat of best speaker, best table topics master, and best evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I should acknowledge today's theme of the day, which is New Year Challenge. And to this, as I was thinking about this theme for today, just thinking about the new year and new beginnings, I thought back to one of my favorite Hindu gods that when I was in India, I would see the Hindu god Ganesh, which is the elephant, painted on the side of buildings from time to time. And I asked one of my tour guides, why is this painted on these buildings? And it was painted there whenever couples got married, because Ganesh is the Hindu god of new beginnings and overcoming obstacles. And I thought that was very apropos for everything going on in the world, going on in our politics right now, and also just the new year. So here's to overcoming obstacles. Now I'd like to introduce our first speaker of the day. This is Toastmaster Peshek. The pathway is dynamic leadership. The speech title is This Little Piggy Went Wild. Wild pigs are an invasive species. They're causing problems across North America and around the globe. The presentation is based on the research on wild pigs and provides a high-level review of the problem and potential solutions. Toastmaster Peshek.
Thank you, Toastmaster, Master. Thank you very much. Thanks, Toastmasters and guests for being here today. Well, okay, like I mentioned in the title, this little pig went wild. You may have seen them on the side of the road. They look like little boulders, sometimes bigger boulders, and you drive by and you realize that they've got thrown and they're actually pigs. So how do those pigs get out into the wild in the first place? They start out life as little fuzzy fur balls on farms where people can control them, keep their eye on them. But over time, some have escaped and some have been let loose on purpose. So it's a pig, you say, so what? You're right, but those pigs out in the wild, their fur got darker, their fur got more coarse. They underwent a transformation. Their teeth turned into razor sharp tusks. They got meaner. And they can get big, 300, 400, 500 pounds. They could be 6, 8. Yes, Alicia.
We're still here. The connection is poor.
Okay. So when I started my research topic, I thought I'd have trouble finding any content to do any research on. But one Google search put that out of my mind completely. I found that wild pigs is a vast and wide subject of research among academics and for scientific researchers. In fact, in one study in 2007 by John Mayer and Barry Sherdow, they created their annotated bibliography of the wild pig. The tome is 329 pages of cited and sourced material on researchers, studies, articles, and anecdotes about the wild pig, the impact, problems, and potential solutions that are at hand. Now, mind you, this isn't the articles themselves. This is just the names of the articles and where you can find them as the resource material. Wild pigs are known as sus scrofa in scientific circles, and they are prodigious breeders. The hardy animals have 2 predators when fully grown, and they have expanded their beginnings from the southeast when they explored DeSoto and introduced them into Florida in the 1500s. In the manual Managing Wild Pigs, it is estimated that millions of wild pigs range throughout the United States from California to Florida and from Texas to North Dakota. Annual damage to ranchers and farmers can be more severe than storms. Native wildlife and plants are also at risk, with wetlands in Florida and California, both forests experiencing dramatic changes and threatening already delicate ecosystems. To sum up the impact, John Mayer and Larry Brisbane in their 2009 article, Wild Pigs, Biology, Damage Control Techniques, and Management, state that, quote, they reproduce at a rate faster than any other mammal of comparable size, native or introduced. They can eat just about anything, and they can live just about anywhere. On top of that, wild pigs are both very difficult to control, and with the possible exception of island ecosystems, almost impossible to eradicate, end quote. So as you can see from this introduction, these wild pigs have run amok. Running amok across North America, and it's a very high level review of the problems they're causing. So let's dig a little deeper into this pervasive pig problem and put them in perspective. So digging is just the problem that pigs cause. When pigs do dig, it's called rooting. And rooting is the most widespread damage done by wild pigs. They root to find food, and it breaks up and loosens the soil. The rooting can be minor, such as some moving leaves or other loose ground cover, or digging into the ground to a point that turns up the soil and spoils the nutrients in the ground for plants to grow. Rooting also damages wetlands for delicate plant communities, and the soils tend to be more sensitive to disturbance. Now, all this digging causes problems for human populations that are in the area where wild pigs live. These problems include agriculture and economic disruption, threats to animals and plant ecosystems, disease threats to humans and livestock. So looking at the agriculture and economic damages, the authors of Managing Wild Pigs, the technical guides, say that the conservative estimate that ranchers and farmers face every year is $1.5 billion in damage to their crops and livestock. In another study, recorded that one wild pig could cause up to $1,000 in damage in one night. A study by Clemson University found wild pigs also severely impact forestry and timber resources. Wild pigs destroy woods by rubbing up against the trees, rooting at the roots of mature trees, and tearing at the bark of trees with their tusks. A study in California oak forests found that wild pig activity reduced tree regeneration potential and forage availability for native wildlife in that woodland ecosystem. And believe it or not, pigs are also predators. They're omnivores. They generally, for the most part, will eat plants, but they will eat eggs and larvae and young animals, including reptiles, alligators, turtles, and ground nesting birds such as wild turkeys, pheasants, and quail. They've also been known to eat adult animals like goats and sheep. In one study by Rawls in 1969, he said that pigs attack animals at any stage for life or death. Wild pigs are also known to be carriers of disease, carrying at least 30 different types of viral and bacterial diseases. Many of them can be transmitted to other livestock and potentially to humans. Swine fever is one such example. So the solutions basically break down into two different kinds. You have lethal and non-lethal. In the lethal category, you have hunting, which is effective, it can be slow and expensive, and it's hard to keep up with the population growth that pigs have. Trapping, various types of trapping is also known to be effective in controlling pig populations, but pigs are so smart that you can't stay with one type of trapping because pigs will learn to avoid that trap and then move on and avoid it in the future. Poisoning is effective, but it's not allowed in the United States. In other countries where it is used, it's been found to be 11 times cheaper than hunting and 80 times cheaper than trapping, excuse me. But in the United States, it's not legalized to use because it cannot be isolated against just wild pigs. It also threatens other species and the environment at large. So looking at non-lethal, you have removal. Remove the pigs from an area, but who's transferring that problem to a different location. That's not very effective and a long-term solution. Fencing, in some cases it works, but it has to be really good fencing. Otherwise, people find a way around it or through it. They're very smart and they're also very hardy. Harassment. Human activity can harass pigs off of an area. That's usually good for a small area, but it's not effective for a large area. There's also vaccination where pigs can be vaccinated against diseases, but the other problems that pigs present are not solved at that point. And there's also contraception. Pigs are not allowed to treat with drugs to keep them from reproducing. It's not effective on a wide scale. So to sum up, pigs pose a challenge to a variety of people across our society. Despite the controls of population, they've increased in range across the continent. Because of this growth, wild pigs promise to be a significant challenge for the foreseeable future. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. That was really great. And I learned a lot. I don't know about you all. At this time, I would like to call on the timer to set for 1 minute. Everyone, please, if you have any comments for our speaker, please send them to him via private chat, and we'll give our evaluator a moment to complete their evaluation.
Do we have the word for the day?
It's amok.
Amok, okay.
All right. Looks like 1 minute is wrapped up. If you have any additional comments, please send them along. At this time, though, we're going to move along in our agenda. Speaker number 2 is not here, so we'll move straight forward into our third speaker, which is Spencer Heilig. Spencer is in Presentation Mastery Pathway, and this is his icebreaker. His speech is entitled, "Why Did I Join Toastmasters?" Toastmaster Heilig, please take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Megan, and thank you everybody else for being here. And a special thanks to my evaluator. I'm looking forward to your feedback. So the real title of my speech today, which I incorrectly inputted on the website, is From Toastmaster to Master of Command. And you'll see in just a moment what it is that I mean by that. But my name is Spencer Heilig. I'm 23 years old, and I just graduated from the University of Houston a little less than a month ago. My degree is in supply chain management, which is basically logistics for businesses and companies. However, now that I've graduated, I'm actually going to be going into the U.S. Army as a commissioned officer. And what I wanted to talk with you about today, and what the title of my speech refers to, is how I see my experience with Toastmasters and public speaking being useful and important as a military leader. And the first reason is really why any sort of speaking is important: to deliver a message in a clear, concise, understandable, and interesting way. As an officer, I'm running a lot of meetings and disseminating a ton of information, both electronically and verbally. But it's with verbal communication in which there's a huge risk in messing up. You know, getting the information wrong or forgetting to say something entirely can have a lot of major consequences. However, Toastmasters has been preparing me for that. Through our impromptu speeches and words of the day, I'm learning how to speak, as I said, clearly, concisely, and in an understandable and interesting way, while having to formulate my thoughts on the fly and also interjecting things like words of the day. So it really helps me to stop from running amok in my speeches. I'm a little bit more calculated. That ability to speak while thinking 3 steps ahead of what you're going to say next is what impromptu speeches train. And that's exactly what I'll be doing anytime I'm speaking in front of a platoon, company, or answering to any superior officer. It is of utmost importance that I'm able to say everything I need to say without fault, or else someone may do the wrong thing, and that may cost time and resources, but in the worst case scenario, it could cost a life. The next reason public speaking is important for military leaders is the most exciting and interesting reason. That is to have the ability to motivate and inspire others with your words. To have a vision for the future and to be able to share that vision with others clearly and in a way in which others internalize that same vision and feel and see exactly what it is that you see. To be able to draw out of your audience that same passion and emotion that you hold for whatever subject. To be able to pull forth from someone the dreams and desires that their fearful minds hide in the corner. Because inspiration, in my opinion, is just fanning the flames of ambition and bravery that we each hold in our hearts. And that can be done through words. You know, I always think back to William Wallace atop his steed in Braveheart, where Scotland's army was ready to call it quits because their minds recognized the fear and the danger and the death that stood before them in the opposing army. But Wallace's speech in response was not some informational sales pitch on why they shouldn't be scared or some analytical nonsense about the plausibility of their victory. He understood that their fears were real and likely. The intention of his speech was to remind his fellow Scotsmen of the honor and glory granted to them by their patriotism and sacrifice. It was also to stir up the guilt they would feel for being a coward, but also the glory that they would claim as their own in their fight for freedom. That ability to be almost poetic in your speech and to evoke those higher virtues that men can only understand and experience with their hearts is a skill that may only be used once in your life. But when you're serving in our armed forces, that difference in your ability to speak and inspire can be life-saving to the disheartened soldier. And while Braveheart may be a fictional example, I brought it up because it shows perfectly the effect a properly done speech can have on an audience. In that instance, we were also the audience. And when I watch that scene, I still get chills. But history is full of examples of real speeches given by real politicians and generals that have unified nations, reinvigorated armies for the battles that lay ahead of them. Probably one of the best known examples of this is Winston Churchill after the Battle of Dunkirk in 1940. This battle was a crushing defeat for Britain and France. And the public knew that France would soon be overrun, but Britain's fate was a lot more uncertain. Churchill's message to his fellow members of parliament and to all the British people was that Britain will never bend her knee to tyranny. He said, "We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets, we shall fight in the hills, and we shall never surrender." And it was in this time of fear, doubt, and turmoil after a major loss that Winston Churchill was able to solidify Britain's commitment to fight and die for their country. And the words of this speech still inspire audiences today. These words acted to unify the British struggle, to clarify the British mission, and to inspire every British man and woman during these trying times. In the words of Churchill himself, "We shall prove ourselves once more, able to defend our island home, to ride out the storm of war, and to outlive the menace of tyranny." And it is speeches like this that inspired me to join Toastmasters, as an opportunity both to increase my effectiveness as a leader and as a visionary. So thank you all for listening to my speech, and I'll hand it back to Megan now.
Well done. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Heilig. At this time, I would like to ask that our timer put up 1 minute. If you have any comments, please use the chat feature to directly send them to Spencer, and the evaluator will take this time to complete their evaluator report. And that's 1 minute. So if you have any final thoughts, please send them along to Spencer. At this time, I would like to call for the timer report from our timer.
Well, I can tell you both speakers made it by the skin of their teeth. Wow. One more second and you would have been disqualified. You guys did well. Both qualified. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to, I would like to bring up our table topics master. Do we have a table topics master for today? Okay.
Alex, I believe, right?
Alex.
Alex.
Yes, Alex. Apologies, Alex.
Hello?
We can hear you, Alex.
Okay, I apologize. What am I supposed to do?
So as the table topics master, you present different topics for people to do a brief impromptu speech.
Okay, and Mr. Livingston, that was sent to, I have that document?
It was
Yes.
included in the email that Scott sent along.
Okay, again, I apologize. I wasn't quite prepared.
Yeah, it's called 365 topics, I believe. It might be the first attached file.
Gotcha, I found it.
And Alex, you can also just make up topics off the top of your head. You could assign that topic to a speaker. You could assign a topic and let someone else pick the speaker. It's whatever you want to do.
Okay. I guess it would be, I'll choose number 34. Would you rather have less work or more work you actually enjoy doing?
Alex, you can choose whomever you would like to speak. And timer, do you want to explain briefly the timing limitations for this?
Absolutely. You'll have a green card at 1 minute, a yellow at 1.5, and a red at 2. Thank you.
I guess it'd be Aaron. I like his speech on the hogs.
So would I like more work that I enjoy doing, or would I like less work that I don't like doing? That's the question.
Would you rather would you rather have less work or more work you actually enjoy doing?
It's a fascinating question. So I tend to be a performance-oriented person, and I get a lot of value out of the work that I do. And when I don't have a lot of work to do, I tend to be bored and get in trouble. So I think I would like to have more work that I enjoy doing, because that phrase that if you have work that you enjoy doing, that you'll never work a day in a life, something along those lines. I think I'm chopping up that quote, but I think it's my point. I think I would want more work that I enjoy doing, so it would feel less like work and more like play. Just trying to think about having no work. Yeah, having no work, I just would be in a place where I just don't want to be, and I want to end up doing something. And I end up trying to find something I enjoy doing, so I end up doing something I enjoy anyway. So more work that I enjoy doing, yes, that would be my answer.
It looks like we have some time for some additional table topics. Alex, if you want to select a different topic and a different speaker, please feel free.
Okay. Give me a moment here too. Number 60, what is your most beloved childhood memory? And let's go ahead, Kelly.
Hi, I'm Kelly King, and I was posed the question, what is my most beloved childhood memory? My most beloved childhood memory would have to be moments spent with my family. Now, if you would have asked me this question 10 years ago, I would have probably told you it was something like my birthday when I was 5 years old at Astro World. Or maybe I would have picked the family trips to Arkansas for Thanksgiving, riding in the back of the car, or the time my dad put a mattress in the back of the station wagon and my brother and I watched the drive-in movie. It may have been some of those moments. But today I have a profound, different view. I've lost all of my family from my generation up. So I would say it would be my nanny's cooking, my mother sitting there sewing Christmas stockings. It would just be those innocent little moments that would be my favorite memories. Otherwise, I would just be running amok through all the different Astroworld rides in Astroworld. and thinking about all those times. But today, family, just the everyday moments. I love them and I miss them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Alex, there's time for another round if you'd like to select a different topic and a different speaker. And please feel free to call on our guest if you'd like. Guests are allowed to speak during this portion of the meeting.
Okay, what is the most important thing you could do right now in your personal life? Is Mitchell a guest?
Yeah. So the question is, what would be the most important thing to do in my life right now?
What
Would
is the most
probably be a stand-up father to my kids. My dad, when I grew up, was always out of town, so I probably saw him maybe twice a week. Maybe a couple of weeks I wouldn't even see him at all. When I grew up, I was inspired not to travel anywhere. I wanted a job so I could come home every day, which I have now. So it's probably a good role model for my kids, and being a good husband to my wife. It's probably the most important thing right now.
Thank you so much. I think that we have time for a bit more. I will keep my eyeball on the clock just so we have time for evaluations. But Alex, if you'd like to select another topic and another speaker, please feel free.
If happiness was a national currency, what kind of work would make you rich? Mr. Livingston.
If happiness was a currency, what kind of activity you said would make me rich?
What kind of work would make you rich?
Thank you. What kind of work would make me rich? I believe that the type of currency that would make me rich is helping and serving other people and empowering them, equipping them to be their very best. In addition to that, I believe another important component would be equipping, training, inspiring people to continue the same, to serve others, to help others, to empower others, to gift others with being their best. And the idea is you have this consecutive chain of ever growing empowerment where people are inspired to be their best, to do their best, and to train others. And in this world, particularly, it almost seems like people are gifted or they're rewarded when they're selfish. And I would like to have a currency where people are rewarded for being selfless. It's not what you keep, it's what you give away. And it's not how little you give away, it's how much you give away. And it's not how much you give away, it's how much not only you, but the people after you and the people after them that give away. So it's like starting an avalanche. You just flick a little stone and the avalanche is created at the bottom of the mountain. I think that would be the currency that makes me happiest, and make me the richest, is seeing what type of impact an avalanche is left over, if you will, at the end of my life and at the end of the lives of the people that I impacted. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And I think that we have time even for one more. So Alex, if you want to select one more final table topic and one more speaker.
Number 187. What are your favorite simple pleasures? Let me see who's all here. I don't see everybody's names.
You could also,
Yes, Spencer.
okay.
Mr. Spencer?
All right. Okay, what are my favorite simple pleasures? I would say my favorite simple pleasure is probably just driving. I really enjoy the I don't know if you call it the freedom of the open road. I'm not in a motorcycle, I'm in a big boxy Jeep. But I just really enjoy being able to hit the road, being able to go wherever it is that I want, being able to roll my window down, listen to music. It's just enough, cognition where I have to pay attention, but it's not a mind-numbing experience like watching TV or playing on my phone. And I just think it's really enjoyable. And it gives me time to think as well. It gives me time to think about the things that I also appreciate in my life, or it gives me time to think about other things that are going on in my life that I haven't, sat down and put a lot of thought to, which I don't do at home. I don't sit down and think about issues. But when I'm out driving, it gives me that opportunity, it gives me that freedom and that time to collect my thoughts a bit more rather than sitting at home and just watching TV or something. So I would say a simple pleasure of mine is driving. It's nice and relaxing for myself, and it grants me the opportunity to think about things and do things that I usually wouldn't do at home.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Alex, and thank you to all of our speakers. At this time, I would like to call on the timers report for our table topic speakers.
Everyone qualified except for Mitchell. He was under at 40 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And at this time, if everyone would take a moment and send a private message to our ballot counter for best table topic speaker of today.
I actually have a poll I'm going to launch right now. And I apologize, we did not fill in the names here, but I would like to share speaker 1 is Aaron for table topics. Speaker 2 is Kelly for table topics. Mitchell 3, Scott 4, Spencer 5. So the numbers for table topics is Aaron, Kelly, Mitchell, Scott, Spencer. Aaron, Kelly, Mitchell, Scott, Spencer. And Scott, since you and I are host and co-host, you'll have to send me your vote so I can add it to the poll.
Okay.
Give everyone just a couple moments to complete the poll.
Alex, this is Renee. Could you tell me what number on the list you chose for Mitchell and what number on the list you chose for Scott?
I tried typing that to you, but for some reason I guess it didn't go through, but it's 98 for Mitchell and 100 for Scott.
Thank you.
Up next will be our general evaluator, who is Alicia, and she will be introducing the evaluators for our speakers. Whenever you're ready, Toastmaster Alicia, you can take it away.
Yes, I am going to call for the report of the 2 evaluators. The first evaluator for Aaron.
This is Scott Livingston. I'm the evaluator for Aaron. Aaron, you did an excellent job on your speech. It was very informative. It was scientific. I love the fact that you talked about the impacts on a broad range of disciplines, if you will. So for example, you talked about the impacts from a scientific perspective. You talked about the impacts to farming and agriculture. You talked about the impacts to forestry. You talked about the economic impacts, and you implied as well the social impacts, if you will, upon society by the wild pigs that are running amok through the woods and in society. I also thought I saw a little smile, a little, in your presentation. And of course, coming from a scientist, that means something. I'm talking about you smiling during your presentation. I was very impressed that you talked about the applications Again, those were the broad impacts of the wild pigs running amok. You also talked about the solutions. So I thought you were very extensive in your explanation and outlining what are the problems with the wild pigs, how to get started, what's it doing to our communities, what are the impacts, and therefore what are now the solutions. So you gave a full spectrum, I thought, of A to Z on a high level regarding these impacts of the wild pigs. Some things on which you might consider working, the connection was weak, and that made it sometimes a little bit difficult for me to hear everything that you were saying. From my perspective, I saw your eyes toward the beginning of your presentation. It looked like you were reading more at the beginning of the presentation. I felt like at the end of the presentation, I felt like your eyes were directed more toward the audience. I felt like I saw that difference, and I liked it more when their eyes were looking at the audience as opposed to your paper, but I totally get the paper, especially reading the quotes. Challenges, things on which you might wish to work. Putting your notes at the top of the camera so you can read your notes even though it looks like you're looking at the camera. Memorizing your notes. Those are some things on which you might want to work. Clarity, I gave you a 4. Vocal variety, I gave you a 2. Eyes, early on a 3, toward the end a 4. Gestures, I gave you a 3. Audience awareness regarding the topic, I'd say a 3. Comfort level 4. Interest, to me, was a 4. To general public, I'd say a 3. Well-researched, I'd say a 5. And then a little bit of humor that you might wish to interject into your speech is you talked about contraception. To a scientist, I'm sure you guys all understand that, but to a park ranger like me and to the general public, they probably have wild imaginations of what contraception means for wild or feral hogs. So you might consider putting a little bit of humor when we talk about contraception for wild pigs. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Scott. I am calling for the second evaluator, the evaluator for Spencer.
Good morning, I'm Renee Griffin. I will be evaluating Spencer Heilig. Spencer, you excelled at relating the value of skills learned and practiced in Toastmasters to your forthcoming military engagement. Plus, you drew in the connection to communication in military history. Your inflection, your vocal inflection was on point. And your hand gestures were appropriate. They added variety to the delivery of your presentation and enhanced and complemented the facial expressions that provided additional variety to the delivery. You may want to work on the movement of your head from side to side and work on engaging your body movement more toward the audience as you're speaking to draw them in more. I would challenge yourself to incorporate times when you hold still without animation. Do continue to have your hand gestures and some subtle body movements as you speak, but do incorporate times when you hold still for impact and effect. You speak in complete sentences, which is greatly appreciated because each sentence conveys a singular thought. Challenge yourself to challenge yourself to smooth out each sentence so that there are fewer pauses within the sentence and that you reserve your pause to the end of the sentence. Give yourself a beat in between sentences. For clarity, I evaluated you at the level of 5. Vocal variety was a 4. Eye contact 5 because it was very on point. Your gestures are 4. Audience awareness 3. Comfort level 5. and interest 5. Thank you so much. And I wish to thank you in advance for your service to our country.
Thank you, Renee. Very good evaluation. So we are going to vote for the best evaluator now to Elizabeth.
I forgot to include a moment for us to vote for the best speaker.
Right.
Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Vote on the best evaluator whenever. Elizabeth, would you prefer that we send that to you directly via the chat?
Do we have a poll for best evaluator?
I'm working out right now. Help me
Okay,
out. Who was the second evaluator?
Renee.
Renee,
Renee.
All right, it'll be up in just half a second.
thank you.
And I think this is the general evaluator to call on the reports from the counter and the grammarian. Is the counter and the grammarian prepared to share their reports for the meeting?
See an intruder. I don't see him register on Zoom. I can't kick him out.
Madam General Evaluator, have you called on reports for off-counter, timer, and grammarian?
Yeah, now I am calling for the grammarian report, please.
All right. So first off, word of the day. I was having a little bit of connection issues, and so I can't say that I heard everybody perfectly clearly, but I know Kelly said it. She said it when she was talking about Astro World. The sentence was, she would just run amok at Astro World. So good job on that. Is there anybody that I missed who used the word?
Aaron.
Amok?
Aaron said it in his? Okay, I must have missed it.
Yeah,
Sorry
Aaron
about
said
that.
it. Aaron said it. And I said it at least twice.
Okay.
Yeah, and Aaron said it twice.
Okay.
Good job.
Good to know. Yeah, sorry for missing that, you guys. Having a little bit of issues today. And then for grammar issues, I thought everybody was really good. I really didn't hear any grammar issues. The only thing is that when Kelly was speaking, the sentence was, I have a profound, and then she sort of paused for a minute, and then she said, different view on, how I view something. And I think what happened is you were trying to say one thing, you were trying to say, like, I have a profound, appreciation or something like that, and then you switched to different view. To correct it, all it would have had to been is I have a profoundly different view. It would have been the addition of ly to describe the different view. But I think that's it. I really didn't hear anything strange from anybody else.
Thank you, Spencer. And now the counter report, please.
Thank you, Madam a general evaluator. I have carefully noted everyone's use of their favorite words. Are we ready for this? Remember, we maxed out at 5. Aaron, speaker 1, 2 ands, 4 so's, 1 double clutch, some, 1 other, which was it's just. On Spencer, speaker 3, 3 ands, 2 so's, 1 you know. Aaron, table topics 1, 4 so's, 1 like. Kelly, table topics 2, 1 so, 1 double clutch, those, 1 2 1 other was now. Mitchell, table topics 3, 2 so's and 2 Scott, table topics 4, 4 ands, 1 so. Table topics 5, number 5, Spencer, 2 buts, 1 so, 1 like, 2 ands, 1 1 double clutch, and 1 you know. Scott, evaluator 1, 3 so's, 1 double clutch, there. Renee, evaluator 3, 3 ands, 3 wells, 2 buts, 1 so, 1 double clutch, smooth out. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator.
Yeah, and now I am going to go to the general comments on the meeting. The meeting started on time and everybody introduced themselves very properly. We have the Toastmaster introducing all the items of the meeting really well. And the presiding officer were well prepared and organized as always. And then we have 2 very interesting speeches, absolutely different and different style, different topics. What is good for our meetings to have different things. Then all the reports were well, the evaluations on time and everything. So I have the table topics were really interesting. Different table topics for different persons, and they were very good. The questions and the answers. This is all I have for our meeting. I don't have anything negative to say. Everything was positive, as always.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I will move quickly because we are coming up on the end of our time. To wrap up for today, I would first like to congratulate the winner for table topics for today is Scott. Congratulations. The best the best speaker for today is Spencer. Congratulations, Spencer. And the best evaluator again was Scott Livingston. So congratulations. Thank you so much to all of our speakers, all of our presenters, and I will turn the table over back to Toastmaster Livingston. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Megan. Okay, in 1 minute or less, 4 things. Renee, I'm sorry, I heard your evaluation, and that's why I wasn't prepared with the poll. In advance, I'll set the poll up before the meeting. Sometimes I forget about that. But anyways, I was setting up the poll and I couldn't remember who that second evaluator was. Anyways, I apologize, Renee. I was listening to your evaluation, and I'll set the polls up in advance. Sorry, guys. Great meeting today. Lots of speeches. Glad you're here, Mitchell. Glad all of our members are here. Great prepared speeches, great impromptu speeches. We had 5. I think that's a record. Thank you, Elizabeth, for keeping us on track, keeping us on time, helping with the polls. Everybody, because we don't always have 3 prepared speeches, what that means is if you're anxious to give a speech, even though you're not signed up for a speech, you can sign up in advance if people drop, and you can always come to the meeting with your speech so that if we don't have 3 prepared speeches, you can jump on board. So encouraging you to have a prepared speech and bring it to the meeting if you'd like to speak. And one more time, thank you, everybody. Great meeting. We'll meet again in 2 weeks. That'll be on January 22nd. It'll be the same link that we use for this meeting. It'll be the same link we use for all of our meetings for the rest of this year. And one more thing, we have an officers meeting on Tuesday, January the 12th at 8 a.m. Thank you, everybody. Have a great
Wait,
week.
Wait. I need everybody to smile so I can do a screenshot for social media. Thank you.
Okay. And with
Okay,
that,
wait, now one more thing. I apologize, Spencer, Mitchell, could you please share with us your thoughts about the meeting as a guest? You're frozen, Mitchell. Can you hear us? Am I the only one that sees a frozen screen? Oh, he's gone. Okay.
Yeah, he's gone
Scott,
now.
Scott, that's the only thing I would do is at the end of every meeting, the presiding officer always asks the guests at the very end what they thought of the meeting, and then the VPM invites them to join. And that's the only thing that I would say for next time.
Okay.
okay. All right. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Great
See you
meeting,
next.
everybody.
See you next meeting.
Good
Bye.
meetings.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.